Today, I want to talk to you about something really interesting. I want to talk to you about the moments when you have self-conscious thoughts about how you're coming across or what people think about you. It might not even be thoughts. It might just be this overwhelming feeling of being self-conscious in the moment. One of the biggest places these thoughts and feelings show up is when you feel like everyone is watching you, or you're in a situation where you feel like you're being judged or noticed. And perhaps every mistake could be noticed. People are noticing everything about you, how you look, how you're coming across. Let's say you're on a date and it's your turn to be vulnerable, or you're at work and you need to share some information. You're with friends and the attention turns to you, or even you're one-on-one with the person serving you at the supermarket, and suddenly you're starting to feel hot and flustered and very self-conscious about how you're coming across. This is known as the spotlight effect. It's a cognitive bias where people overestimate how much others are noticing them. And stay tuned to learn more about the spotlight effect. Hello, welcome to Lessons in Self-Worth. I'm Carly Ann, a therapist and coach, a modern CBT practitioner, if you like, which means first I can help you formulate what is keeping your main patterns going, and then we can choose the support and techniques that are unique to you. This podcast is for the cycle breakers, the ones who can see the patterns they're stuck in, feel how it's affecting them, and know deep down that you're ready for something different and something more. If you have got that pull for more self-worth, more self-love, more ease in how you show up in your life, you're in the right place. Welcome. Just a quick note, guys, this podcast isn't therapy. It's my own reflections, insights, what I'm learning, inspired by along the way. I bring in intuitive coaching, therapy, somatic and attachment-based approaches, and things I'm reading and exploring. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and let's grow together. So imagine you walk into a room and the moment you step in, a spotlight snaps on above you and it follows you every step, every word, every hesitation, every interaction. It doesn't just light you up, it literally vibrates, it amplifies you. Your movements feel louder than they are. Your silences feel longer. Your silences feel loud. Every tiny mistake, a stumble in a sentence, an awkward laugh, the way you adjust your posture, how you come across, it doesn't just happen. It is literally glowing, like it's being highlighted for everyone to see. And you believe something that everyone is noticing you. Everything that you do that is not up to a standard that you hold yourself to in these situations, you believe that other people are noticing you, judging you, thinking about it, laughing. A lot of people will feel this in meetings, in social situations. I'll give you some more examples actually in a moment, because I always think that can really help. But it can be in everyday conversations where nothing is actually going wrong, but it feels like all eyes are on you, quietly judging, noticing every small detail. This is the spotlight effect. You feel like all eyes are on you. The problem is when you start believing that, it changes how you show up. You hold back, you overthink, you leave conversations feeling bad about yourself, you edit yourself in real time, you change who you are in that moment. Instead of being present, your attention is anywhere but on the conversation, on the current moment. It is so tuned in to how you're coming across and what you're believing in this moment, usually negatively predicting. And if you get this, if you relate to this, comment on Spotify or YouTube the word spotlight. I really want to know who else relates to this. And if you're not on Spotify or YouTube, as I always say, come over to my Instagram, carlyann_therapy, and leave a spotlight for me. DM me the word spotlight. I want that moment to really connect with people who get this. A community of people who are like, I'm not on my own. Oh my goodness, I totally have this challenge with the spotlight effect. And isn't it so lovely, so powerful, as awful as this can feel, this moment now where you're like, oh, this is actually a thing. This is a thing. I can actually do something about this. I can actually get help. Yes, absolutely. And with that, this is your invite to reclaim your confidence, reclaim yourself from the moment that took your confidence in this way, in the moment that started to create these beliefs like I'm awkward, I'm different, other people are smarter or funnier than me, that to be accepted, I must perform a certain way or, have a certain standard in conversations and in interactions and in how I come across. These old narratives are taking your happiness. And honestly, you tell me, what is it doing to your confidence? Just to, like I said, I'm going to give you some more examples of the spotlight effect and how it can impact people, because I just feel like sometimes when we hear examples, that can be really helpful. If you're like, I do relate to this, but I don't hear myself in those examples, that's okay. Just write your own ones down where you feel affected. But here's like 6 examples. Speaking in a meeting and thinking everyone notice your nerves and your anxiety. Replaying a conversation after it's happened and assuming that you sounded awkward or boring or like you didn't know what you were talking about. Walking into a room late and feeling like all eyes are judging you. Posting on social media and worrying about what everyone thinks. Saying something slightly off in a group and thinking it ruined everything for everyone and that everyone feels awful for it. Being quiet around new people and assuming that they see you as shy or boring. This way of living is exhausting. Like you're constantly, or you're feeling like you're believing you're constantly being watched and judged. And your thoughts will feel really strong. You'll really believe that people are thinking these things. And over time, it convinces you that you're the problem, that something about you isn't quite right. And you feel easily inferior, easily embarrassed, easily worried, and you may even avoid. Because of this spotlight effect and how it feels in that moment, you might avoid lots of things. You might know that you're holding yourself back in your life. And because it's our inner child so often that's on this mission to feel good enough, we panic and change ourselves in these moments or avoid. Because at least then, in some way, I'm protecting myself and can perhaps feel good enough. So you begin holding back, overthinking what you say, slowly shaping yourself, planning everything you're going to say, becoming something that feels easier to at least like maybe then I can be seen as good enough. And the other thing that people will mention here is the physical sensations. As soon as you're triggered, your body can really react. It can be that tightness in your chest, tension. It can be feeling like you're going red, a drop in your stomach, feeling like you're sweating and people are noticing, your heart rate increasing, shallow breathing, and you can feel, slightly off and slightly embarrassed by this or fully self-conscious without any clear reason. And you don't always recognize that that's happening in the moment because, like I say, your attention is so fully in being self-conscious when you're in this spotlight effect. That's where rumination can start, overthinking, the replaying what just happened, imagining your worst case outcomes. You can just feel really lost in that moment. And a lot of people will say it's really exhausting as well. I'm now offering single session therapy or coaching. Sometimes you don't need or want months of support right now. You just need a focused space to really work through something that's been sitting with you. This is a 2-hour session dedicated entirely to you with a 15-minute breather. We'll go straight into one issue you've been struggling with and actually move through it together. I'll check in throughout to make sure we're focusing on what you want and what you came to this 2-hour session for. Before the session, you'll fill out a short questionnaire so I can understand what's going on for you and what you'd love to shift. If something has been weighing on you and you're ready to shift it, this is such a powerful space to do that. For both of those ways of working with me, whether it's the free one or whether it's a single session, you can go to the description and learn all about it right there. Let's focus a little bit on overcoming the spotlight effect. Of course, this is complex, and I want that to be really clear that this can be, a session by session thing when working with people on this. So this is some ideas here. This is, very brief, so keep that in mind. But if you recognize yourself as struggling with the spotlight effect, the very first thing is not to judge yourself for it. This is far more common than you might realize. There is nothing unusual about you. It's just how the mind can react in certain situations. If it is severely impacting your life, it may be worth considering therapy for extra support. If it feels mild to moderate, there is, a lot that you can start doing things on your own wherever you relate to it, whatever the severity. But sometimes the more it's impacting and the more difficult it feels to engage in self-help, therapy can really help. A powerful first step is awareness. Start noticing it when it shows up in real time, that feeling of being judged or exposed and how it truly makes you feel. Instead of fighting it or getting lost on it, acknowledging it. I often will suggest keeping a diary, a log in these early stages. It doesn't have to be really detailed, but a few notes on what happened, how you felt, what your mind told you. Over time, this can help you to see patterns, when it happens, where it happens, what tends to trigger it, what contributes and keeps it going. From there, the diary becomes this way of really understanding the stories that your mind tells you, the predictions that you make, and perhaps you can see some patterns there. Patterns like, it's always I'm saying I'm awkward. I'm always worried that I've messed something up or that people are judging me. These feel real in the moment. They're not fact. They're often mental habits, unhelpful thinking patterns that you've learned along the way. And a log, a diary can really help us to begin to see that. Where acceptance and commitment, ACT therapy can be really useful, is the idea of self as context. So in simple terms, this means that you're not your thoughts or your feelings, you are the person noticing them. So instead of I am awkward, it becomes I'm having the thought that I'm awkward. I've spoken about this in previous episodes where I've spoken about diffusion and using acceptance and commitment therapy. That small shift creates space. It helps you see that the thoughts are mental events. They're not instructions. They're not truths about who you are and how you're coming across and what other people are thinking. And when there's space, you have more choice of how you can respond, to zoom out and really consider and observe. Do I know these thoughts are 100% factual? And often you won't. Rather than automatically believing everything your mind says, this gives you the opportunity to become the observer. I'm also going to actually give somatic therapy a little shout out here because also can be really helpful. I would also, I'm not going to say CBT as well, is brilliant for working with the spotlight effect. Somatic therapy can be helpful because the spotlight effect doesn't just happen in your head, it shows up in your body too. When you feel judged or exposed, your nervous system, often goes into that threat response. That's those physical sensations I was talking about, tight chest, shallow breathing, tension in your body, in your shoulders, this sense of urgency or freezing even. Somatic approaches focus on working with these physical sensations rather than only analysing your thoughts by learning to notice what's happening in your body, regulating it through grounding, breathing, staying with the sensations. You really start to teach your nervous system how to be safe, how to calm, even in uncomfortable moments. And over time, this can reduce the intensity of the reaction itself, not just the thoughts. So I would say to really start noticing the stories, the feelings that you get pulled into when you're in these difficult kind of spotlight moments. Of course, first you need to identify what are my spotlight moments. But then asking yourself, what is it actually like living in this version of this reality when I'm in this spotlight effect? What impact is it actually having on me, on my life, how I show up, the risks that I take, the dreams that I'm following? To be able to gently zoom out and remember there are so many parts of you, so many strengths, qualities, times that you have been confident, funny, kind, capable. The spotlight effects shrinks your whole world down to one story, one belief about you or about what other people are thinking that is not the full picture about who you are. So start getting excited about how you can show up in these moments as a new version of yourself. Who do you really want to be? That confident, secure self is within you. I really do believe you can overcome this challenge with the spotlight effect. Guys, thank you for listening to Lessons in Self-Worth. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe so you never miss a future one. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment or a review, and don't forget to check the links in the description for notes on working with me directly. And yeah, I will be back here very soon.